Hey guys, we got news for October 7th on Global, and this week I am joined by Xamelera, who is the fan design creator of Bulwark and the Melodic mascots. So you can go ahead and say hello.
Thanks for having me.
Indeed. So we got a bunch of news this week. So we'll just go through it one by one. So for the first thing is the second week boss of Tomb Raider. It's the Great Pyramid. From the way it sounds like there's going to be a few different bosses, maybe, or maybe it's the same boss with multiple difficulties. But you go in here, you clear them, and you get some stuff for overall a little kind of like whatever accessories. Seems fine for new players. Veterans are not going to have a ton of use for this, I don't think. But how about you, Zemalera? Do you are you impressed with this? Would you hope it was better? Is it going to be great? What do you think?
I'm not really a fan of, I guess, equipment that isn't particularly specialized with a particular status. So, like you said, these are pretty good, I guess, if you're just starting off, but I don't know if I'd really use them that much.
Yeah, yeah. For a new player, it's great. $30 stats, $45 stats flat. But yeah, for veterans, we're gonna be using 60 plus and above for those things. But it's something. So this boss right here, this girl on the left, I actually don't know much about Tomb Raider. Do you know much about the Tomb Raider franchise? Do you know
I know
do you know who this is?
almost absolutely nothing. No idea. I know the other one. I know that's Lara,
Oh,
but
that is
that's it.
Laura. So we've got that one. Okay, so that would be on Thursday. We're also getting this was like a surprise to me. We're getting another main story update this week. Normally this is the last week of the month, so we're getting this this week though. So last month the story update kind of like cut off in the middle of like the final boss fight, like left you on a cliffhanger, and they're picking it up this week. And this, I've said this a few times, I think at this point I'm correct that this is going to be the last update for Season 3. We're finally going to get the finale. So, are you a big story fan, Zemalera, or do you skip? I usually ask people when it's a story update.
I do follow the story. I think it's hard to be a fan artist if you don't know as much about the characters. Season three is probably not my favorite, to say the least, but I think there's a lot of people who'll be excited that season three is finally ending one way or the other.
Yeah, and then we get into Season 4, which I'm more of a fan of Season 4 when it comes. But, yep, so this should be the final boss fight. And if it's the same as JP, we're also going to be getting two CGI movies at the end of this. And they're actually pretty cool, so there's something to look forward to. You can check those out in-game if you haven't already seen them on YouTube from the JP server. But they're worth checking out, and we should see that on Thursday. And then the banner for the week is Roka, and before we get into that real quick, we're going to check out the two STMRs available in the shop, the Creole Scrunchie and the Barbaricia's Bangles. These are both overall decent. They're kind of hit or miss these weeks in the shop. I think these are both pretty good. Which of these two, Zamalera, would you say is the better pick for players going for this?
I think it depends what you have available already. Like the Cryo Scrunchie is pretty good if you don't have as many options for status resistance, and it does add some magic if you want to save a bit of equipment space instead of using something like Hairpin of Purity. But um, yeah, I'm not so sure about Barbie's Bangles. I think if you, yeah, wind resistance is always handy. Um, yeah.
Yeah, I would agree. I would say Krill Scrunchie is probably the more universally useful one because of the status immunity. It's really slot efficient. And it's a really high magic hat as well. Barbaricious Bangles, if you need the wind resist, it's going to be amazing. But other than that, like the Cursed Doll gives 72 magic. The Heliotite gives 70 in mana reduction. Like there's better options for that. Whereas for status immunity on a mage, this is probably one of the best options as Creo Scrunchies. So yeah, I would agree. Creo Scrunchie is probably the better one for that. And then the banner, the standalone banner. So we're getting only Roka this week. We expected to get Roka, Pause, New Visions Awaken, Daisy, and Cleome, but we're just getting Roka. Now they confirmed on this news, we'll show a little bit lower, that we are getting Daisy's Awakening next week. That's confirmed. As far as Pause and Cleome, we would assume they're probably going to be next week as well, but that isn't officially confirmed. So do you know much about Roker from the JP server, Zemler?
I don't know much about her kit. I know she's a time mage. I wasn't really sure how that works in terms of FFBE. Is it
Okay.
total or something?
So I'll explain real quick how it works. So she's got a Magnus ability usable 5 times in the battle. You can target a unit with that, and every single cooldown on that unit is reduced by 1 turn. So all of them on the whole unit are reduced by 1 turn. And then on her SLB, when it's available, when it's kind of the first time this happens, but when you use the SLB, it brings up the targeting prompt, and you target a unit with her SLB, and that reduces all cooldowns by 2 turns when used. So it's one of those things that's really really cool, and not a ton of practical applications for it for the most part, because like in Dark Visions, you only really need that 1 turn of burst, so like doing cooldowns more often isn't super big, but it's definitely really cool. So is there like a unit you think would really benefit by reduced cooldowns?
I think, like you said, it depends on like what battle we're doing, and there hasn't been anything that really requires it at the moment.
Yeah.
Um, so not really. I
Yeah.
mean, I guess anyone that's like maybe has some cool buffs that you might want to use repeatedly, but I don't see it as being game breaking, I should say. But it sounds cool. I like that there are different mechanics in play. I like whenever they introduce something that's a bit different to the game that gives you more versatility in terms of your tactics. So that's always welcome.
It is, and for me, it's kind of like right now I don't have like a clear use for this in sight, but this is the kind of unit that I'm super scared to miss on, because like all of a sudden there's gonna be some global exclusive that comes out that has this
Yeah.
amazing cooldown you want to redo. It's like, oh, I missed Roka. What am I gonna do? So like, she definitely has that big fear of missing out feeling going on.
Oh no, you're making me want to get her now.
It's so tempting too, but the problem is Halloween is coming, and Halloween is usually a big deal on globals.
Hmm.
So I'm kind of
That's
wanting
what
to
I'm
save for
saving for.
that.
Absolutely.
and,
Absolutely.
and then her step up banner is the good banner we've had recently. Laura Croft skipped this one, but we're back to the in my opinion good value step up, where you get the shards and then the guaranteed random Neo on step 5, which is nice. And then here's the
Hmm.
unit. And then something else about the unit I should mention is she is a really good earth support. Like Sakura is the good thunder support, Nicole's the good water support. She's the earth version, so she does a 45% earth amplify for the party, which is nice. She can't imperil though, which is kind of like Sakura. Sakura can't imperil either. Neither can she for earth, which is a little strange. I kind of expected like these support units to have the good imperils too, but she doesn't. And then here's her STMR. Her STMR is a killer mage chest, but unlike Sakura and Nicole, hers actually has magic on it. So it's actually a good STMR, unlike the other two. This is a nice change. And then here's Quick, the cooldown reduction thing. And then the vision card. The vision card is like a
God.
big. It's a big miss for me. Like, all it gives is percent MP per turn, and is that even like a thing needed these days? I find gearing units for just permanently self-sustaining MP per turn so easy these days. Like, I don't see a point of this card.
Yeah, I don't really see a point either. I mean, there might be a few people triggered after fighting Kairos and having to deal with MP drain, like a bit of Hasuko PTSD that might fall into this trap of needing La Vida Roca, but
That's
I
true.
think there are a lot of other options out there, but it could have its purpose, I guess, if you're failing to be able to give everyone a reasonable amount of MP refresh. I
Yeah,
wouldn't go after it,
yeah, and
but
the
I mean,
stat.
if you have it, you have it.
Yeah, and the stats are a little low. Like 50 to all. Like, I personally
Mm,
prefer the focus stats. Like, give me 100 to one. Don't give me 50 to all.
absolutely, I can't agree more. Like quality over quantity for sure.
And then this is one of those old cards that was sold in a bundle. It's been a certain amount of time, so now they're adding it to the general pool. So you can start getting Tomo versus Gravy as your random card when you pull a Neovisions, potentially. It's kind of a whatever card, but it's there. And then the event is the Mog King event, a journey filled with love. So you're going to get Daisy as the free unit, even though she's only 5 or 7 star, for now, but she is being updated next week. But you get her from the missions. You're going to get her Prism, her STMR moguls, and all that from the exchange shop. And then here is Daisy's STMR upgrade. Here's the final upgrade. This is like Beatrix TMR, where it's a really good upgrade, but it's only available during this event. So if you're playing kind of casually currently, you might want to spend the effort to get this during the event, because once the event goes away, you can never upgrade this again. So it's pretty nice. It gives 65 flat defense and 50 to all stats if you're wearing a shield. And then it gives double hand defense, but that's only for Daisy. So this is pretty good for almost every tank, though. What do you think, Xamelera? Is this great for like Bohemian and stuff?
I mean, I've only just got Bohemi. I've been really lacking a good tank, so I'm really interested in, I guess, just looking at all the new options for my tank because, yeah, I've been neglecting them.
Yeah, definitely nice. And then the other two items are kind of like, whatever. They're good for new players. If you're not a new player, it's like this one right here, the Magic Double Hand 25%. Like, why couldn't they have buffed it to 50%? Like, the Magic is already low on it. It's... these weird percentages irritate me. They just do. And then there's going to be so here's the bonus units. It's just Roka for 300 because we're kind of missing the other Neovision's Awakening. Here's Daisy and Cleome still at 7-star, although they're giving Neovision's bonus. I'm not sure why they're doing this, but they are. And then some other global units, or not global, Brave Exvius units are in the 200s, and then some 150s, etc. And then down here is where they confirm that we're going to, right here, Daisy will be made available on 10/14. So do you have any idea why do you think, Xamelera, they're delaying Daisy for a week when she's part of the event? Like the conspiracy theory says, because she's a bonus unit, so they're going to make it harder to get bonus. But we've had 3 years, and there's always a free bonus unit. So that's not really the case. What do you think the reason is they're delaying her for a week?
I have no idea. I was going to ask you the same question because it is so strange that they would do that. I can't remember them ever doing that before. You could so easily miss that news as well. It's right at the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can't think of why. Yeah, we'll keep the conspiracy theories going and see what we can come up with by the 14th.
Yeah, it's so weird, so weird. And then we're getting 2 Chronicle battles. Now this one, the Voa and Digo, which I'm probably saying wrong, is against the what were these called in this story? I forget. Not Mist Dragons. They had a name for these. Do you remember what they're called? Was it Mist Dragons?
Hollow Dragons?
Hollow Dragons. That's it. It's Hollow Dragons.
I read the story and I'm not even sure. That's terrible.
Yeah, the Hollow Dragons. We're fighting a Hollow Dragon as a Chronicle battle. This is the easy Chronicle battle. You just go in here and you farm it for this craftable stuff. Overall, this gear is kind of sort of whatever. The first one is a physical fairy killer from Brave Exvius units, but it gives no attack power, so that's probably going to never be used. And then the other one is from Magical Fairy Killer. At least this one gives 30 magic, so this one might find use on some units if you don't have things like Faceless STMR or whatever. So it's okay. It's only usable by these units. Well, the bonus is only for these units. Let me go through real quick. Is anyone on here a magical DPS? Divertes and Evoker won't even work on him. Milo. Okay, so Milo and Faceless. So I guess Milo and Faceless are the only 2 this is even going to be.
Only 2 people. I don't know why they do this to us.
It's like this. Even if this was universal killers, like anyone could equip it, it still wouldn't even be that great. So yeah, I don't know. And then here's the more interesting battle. This is this is the boss battle where you got to do it in for the crown in 5 turns. Although most people are going to want to go for that 3 turn for the show off for the emblem, but do it in 3 turns or less for all the missions. Now, I will point out that this was actually nerfed for the global server. On the JP server, the crown had to be beaten in 4 turns or less. So they made it easier on the global server. I personally don't love that they're nerfing the content, but I guess, players that weren't able to do it in the turn limit are probably cheering for that. What's your thoughts on that, Xamelera? Like, do you think it's a good thing that they're making it easier to get the rewards, or do you prefer it to be like, challenging to get?
If it's permanent content, I figure why not just keep it as challenging as possible. If you can't do it now, you can always do it later. I mean, there's certainly challenges that I've left till a bit later if I don't have what I need. So I would have been happy if they left it with the 4 turns for sure.
Yeah, that makes sense. And this is a permanent content, and it is locked to Brave XPS units only. These units will get a bonus, but you can bring any Brave XPS unit you want. So even if it's not on this list, you can still come. They just won't get like a bonus stat. So like Sky and Yigni are going to be two of the really really easy to clear units for this fight. But yep, that is the Chronicle battle for the week. And then we're getting Dark Visions as well. So this week, or this month, the Dark Vision tickets that, for me personally, almost never give a Neo Visions. Last month I got none at all. But the pool this month is Melia, Terra, Adele, and Arden. So for this list, I would personally be happy to pull a Terra. I think I'm 2 away from EX3. How about you, Xamelera? Which of these 4 would be like the best pull for you?
Definitely Terra as well. I can't remember if I'm 1 or 2 away from EX3, but I would love to get her up to there for sure.
Nice. So overall, though, these are actually 4 okay-ish Neovisions. Like, Melia's kind of but Terra, actually Adele's pretty bad too these days. Maybe, okay, so there's 2 out of 4 that are decent pulls, I would say. Is Terra and Arden are pretty decent. Melia and Adele are not the best. And then Dark Visions. So first thing I'll point out real quick is it's going to be completely available by Saturday. I love this change. I hated the way for the first week of Dark Visions you couldn't even do the hard stages over the weekend. You basically had 1 weekend for the whole event because it always started on Monday. So during the week you had less time to work on the final bosses. But this time they're opening on Saturday, which is great. I love that. One other thing I'll point out is we're also getting the rod and bow upgrade to rank plus 10 or rank 11. We're still not getting the final upgrade that JP server has, where it's like 290 magic, whatever. But 257 still is going to be the best rod in the game, so that's nice. And the rest of this is all just the usual Dark Visions news. But I'm going to jump over here, and we can see the final 3 bosses. So they're the only ones that really matter. So this one, the Beast and Reaper, this is actually Vendemiatrix. If you remember from the Chamber of Arms, that's now closed, but the Vendemiatrix was the one that was like the whole adventuring party. Like there were like 7 of them in the boss. That was Vendemiatrix. They're going to be the Beast and Reaper boss weak to lightning and dark. And then this one is, I'm trying to think of the name, Alferg was the crab in Chamber of Arms, is weak to ice and earth. And then the final boss is going to be basically Odin. It sounds like Odin, the traitorous warlord. So for Dark Vision, Xamelera, are you one that goes in there and just clears it on the first turn and gets done with it? Do you go in there and try hard and try to get the best score possible? How do you usually approach Dark Visions?
I generally try to finish everything at least once. I'm not too fussed about where I am in terms of the score, but I do like to at least know that I've accomplished it. So I run through it once. I try to get at least a perfect score for the lower levels because that's so easy now. But for the final 3, I make sure I can complete them and then see how much time I have left in the week to get a higher score.
Oh, okay. For me, I usually I usually run these over and over and over and over, trying for that high rank. Usually I get decently, but sometimes I'm missing some key units. Although I feel good about this month because I feel like I've got most of the best options for the final boss. Is human. I've got like Sephiroth, Tifa, and now Lara Croft, and I feel like those 3 are going to be the big 3 for getting a good score on Odin. So I'm thinking I'll probably do good this month. And then the other bosses, based on the JP server, these were pretty easy to damage cap, honestly. Global may adjust it, we don't know yet, but based on the JP server when I did this in JP, these two bosses were pretty easy to perfect score. It was just the final boss that was like the big gatekeeper. And this is not for this week. This is like future news, but the news came out this week. We'll just mention it briefly. For Clash of Wills of October, we're getting Moratorium. I don't know. It's a Reaper in stone, and the elements are fire, light, and dark. So fire is like just always there in Clash of Wills. It seems never going away. It's always fire. Light and dark are both new though. So dark for me, Sephiroth, I'm super happy. Light is who's even a good light DPS these days? I guess Noctis, kind of. It's a little outdated.
I kind of just imbue people, I guess, these days for light, but
yeah. And then the tips is he imbues people with, or he inflicts zombie and stop. Stop is whatever. Zombie is a little trickier. It makes you think that Kresnik is going to potentially be a big deal, but then again, we all thought zombie was going to be a big deal on Asta, the undead dragon, and it turned out to be like almost a non-issue. So I don't think zombie is going to be critical, but we don't really know until it comes out. What do you think? Or do you think Gumi is going to be like severely punishing people that didn't get Kresnik?
oh gosh, I hope not. I wanted to pull for Kresnik, but I didn't.
Oh no.
So I'm in deep trouble. I mean, I wanted to go for him, but in the process, I managed to pull two Bulwarks just in the process, and I didn't need him, so I'm a bit scared now. But I should have known zombie was coming up. I mean, Halloween's around the corner as well, so I'm prepared to. Yeah, Gumi's going to punish me, and yeah. Oh well.
Oh geez. Well, we'll see soon. And this just a reminder: this is not this week. This is later in the month. We were just going to mention it. And I think that's basically it. Yeah, it's just the usual crest and UOC tickets per month. So that's our stuff for the week. Quite a bit going on. 2 Chronicles, Mog King, Dark Visions, the Lara Croft boss. Yeah, so there's a lot going on this week. But I think we're done for now. So thank you, Xamelera, for discussing the news with me. It was fun.
Thank you for having me.
Indeed. So I will see you guys on Thursday. See you later.